welcome to my channel. My name is Nicole and I am so happy you're here. If you are a complete beginner or maybe you tried yoga a couple of times, this is the perfect place to start. I have this Vinyasa Flow for you. We're gonna move really nice and slow and break down the poses and just get started with yoga. So let's hop on our mats and begin. We are going to begin in a cross-legged seat. So come to your mat and sit down, bringing one foot in front of the other, making yourself comfortable. So you can always bring a pillow or a block or anything underneath the hips if that makes you sit better. And then resting the hands onto the knees, and with the next inhale, rolling the shoulders up towards the ears, and exhale all the way down the spine. And then you can close your eyes and start to arrive on your mat and arrive in this pose. And for me, sitting in a cross-legged seat was super challenging in the beginning, so I would immediately get back pain and I just couldn't really handle to sit still. But with then practicing yoga regularly, it was crazy how much that changed, because my back pain completely disappeared and now I can sit on the floor cross-legged kind of like forever. And the purpose of the yoga practice is actually to prepare the body to sit in stillness and to meditate. So practicing yoga is going to help you to feel more comfortable whenever you are seated or whenever you are in stillness. But that's just if you're maybe feeling uncomfortable right now, or you're struggling with back pain or with sitting still. It's gonna get better with yoga. But now start to bring your awareness to your breath. Just starting by noticing how your breath is flowing right now. And then bringing more depth to the breathing. So taking fuller inhales in and deeper exhales out. Keep breathing like that. Deep inhales in and deep exhales out. We want to establish a breath that we can maintain throughout the practice. And the breath is a really great tool for also whenever the mind is wandering off. We can shift the awareness back to the breath and it makes us very present in the practice. Now start to bring your right ear towards the right shoulder, finding a stretch in the left side of the neck. And if you want more, you can extend the left arm to the side as if you're searching for something on the floor next to you. And you can still keep your eyes closed, bringing all your awareness to the sensations in the neck. Taking one more inhale in. And exhale, bring the hand back onto the knee and roll your chin to the chest and then over to the left. So the left ear is on top of the left shoulder, finding the stretch in the right side of the neck and either staying here or extending the right arm to the side, long through the fingertips, feeling into the stretch and bringing softness to the tension. Last inhale in and exhale, chin to the chest, hand back onto the knee, and then lift the head back up, blinking the eyes open if you had them closed. And I'm just gonna move so you can see a bit better. We're gonna plant the right palm down into the mat next to us and sweep the left arm up and over alongside the left ear, finding a stretch in the left side of the body, keeping both sit bones firmly grounded into the mat and bending deep into the right elbow. And try not to round the left shoulder forward, but we want to keep the chest open, so draw the left shoulder back. Let's take a full breath in. And with the exhale, lowering the left palm down and walking the hands all the way over to the left, planting the left palm down into the mat and reaching the right arm up and over alongside the right ear, finding the stretch into the right waist, the rib cage, still grounding down through both sit bones here. Taking a full breath in, and with the exhale bringing the palm down and then walking the hands long in front. I'm just gonna switch back to the side so you can see. So we're extending the arms long in front, folding over the feet, rooting down through the sit bones, and from here rolling onto the knees, bringing the hands underneath the shoulders. The knees are directly underneath the hips. We're in our tabletop position, and we're gonna warm up into the wrists, which is quite important as we're spending a lot of time on the wrists in yoga. So bring the fingers to point towards the sides of the mat and start to rock from side to side, being really mindful here so we don't want to overstretch anything. And then start to draw circles into the wrists, into one direction, and switching it out, moving into the other direction. And then bring the palms back normally into the mat and flip the left palm up, so the palm is facing upwards, fingers pointing towards the knees, and again finding a gentle rock, this time forwards and backwards, and switching it out, flipping the right palm up, fingers pointing towards the knees and feeling into the wrists, and then bringing both palms normally back into the mat. And we're gonna move into our cat and cows. So with the next inhale, drop your belly and arch your spine, look up. Exhale, press into your palms, bring the chin to the chest and round your spine, round the shoulders. Inhale to drop the belly and look up, cow pose, tilting the sit bones. And exhale to round into the spine, finding cat. And if you like, you can now close your eyes and connect the movement fully to your breath. So whenever you inhale, you find that arch in the spine, cow pose, and with every exhale, finding that full rounding. Moving with the breath and feeling into the range of motion of the spine. Taking our last round. And then sit the hips back onto the heels, relaxing the wrists for a moment. Maybe you can feel it in the palms and in the hands. And then extend your arms wide to the sides and then cross the right arm on top of the left, and either bringing the palms to touch, so finding that full bind, or the backs of the hands, or you can also bring your hands to the shoulders if the first two options are too much. So find your version here, finding that eagle wrap in the arms. And with the next inhale, lift the gaze, arch your spine and lift the fingertips up. Exhale, chin to the chest and round the spine, elbows towards the navel. Inhale to look up, arching, and exhale to round. One more time, inhale, looking up, and exhale, fully rounding. And coming back to center, staying here, and now try to draw your shoulders down while at the same time lifting the fingertips up. So we're finding that opposed motion that you cannot really see from the outside, but you can definitely feel it, of drawing the shoulders down, the arms up, finding the stretch in the shoulder blades. One more breath in. And exhale to release, bring your arms wide and then cross the left arm on top of the right. And then either finding that full bind with the palms to touch, or the backs of the hands, or bringing the hands onto the shoulders, whatever works for you. And from here, with the next inhale, lifting the fingertips up, bringing the gaze up, arching the spine. And exhale, bring the elbows to the navel, chin to the chest and round. Inhale to look up and lift up. And exhale to round. Last time, inhale to lift, arching the spine, lifting the chest. And exhale, rounding the spine and the neck. And then coming back to a neutral spine and finding that opposed motion of drawing the shoulders down, elbows down while lifting the fingertips up. Don't focus on if you're doing it right. Just notice what you're feeling in the arms and the shoulders. Taking one more breath here. And exhale to release. You can roll your shoulders a little bit, letting go of any tension. And then coming back into our tabletop position. So bringing the hands underneath the shoulders, knees are underneath the hips. Now extending the right leg long behind and then shifting the weight into the right hand and extending the left arm long in front. So now we're in our balancing tabletop, finding length from the fingertips to the toes. Take an inhale in and exhale, bring the knee to your elbow, rounding the spine. Inhale to lengthen and exhale, elbow to knee, try to make a connection. Inhale to extend, finding length, and exhale to round. One more time, inhale to lengthen and exhale, knee to elbow, and inhale to lengthen, and then place the left palm down, the right knee down, and we're gonna go straight for the other side. So extending the left leg long behind, shifting the weight into the left palm and reaching the right arm long in front. Inhale here, exhale, knee to elbow. Inhale, finding length. Exhale, knee to elbow. Trying to stick with your breath here. Inhale, extend, finding length. And exhale, knee to elbow. Inhale, extend. Exhale to round. We'll do 2 more like that. Inhale, find length. Exhale, knee to elbow. Last time, inhale to extend. And then plant the right palm down, left knee down. Let's take 1 round of cat-cow here. Inhale, drop the belly, lift the gaze, arching the spine. And exhale, chin to the chest, rounding the spine. Now, walk your hands about 1 handprint further forward. Tuck your toes under and then start to lift the hips up. Setting up for our first downward facing dog. And we just want to start with some movement here. So pedal out the feet, bend your knees generously, move the hips. And just feel into the backs of the legs here. Downward facing dog is putting a lot of stretch onto the hamstrings. So we just want to ease into the stretch by moving a little bit. And whenever you've had enough, you can find stillness. Taking a quick look at your palms and making sure that all 10 fingers are spread wide and that your palms are shoulder distance apart in the mat. Looking at your feet, making sure that the feet are hip distance apart. And I quickly want to show you one thing that I see so often in my yoga classes, which is a rounding in the spine. And we don't want that. We want to have length in the spine as our main priority in down dog. So you can always bend your knees like I'm doing now. It gives me a lot more space to find length in the spine. So it's no problem at all to keep a bend in the knee whenever you're in your down dog. And then over time, it will be easier and easier to straighten the legs and to draw the heels towards the mat the more we practice yoga. But let's start off, if you feel like you're rounding, starting off with that bend in the knees and keeping the length in the spine. Let's take a quick break. You can lower the knees down into the mat and bring your hips onto the heels and maybe moving through the wrists a little bit. Downward facing dog, especially in the beginning, can be quite a tough pose. It definitely requires also a lot of strength, but the more we practice it, the easier it will get, I promise. So now let's move right back into it. Tuck your toes, lift your hips up, press your palms into the mat, fingers are spread wide. And then start to bend your knees, come onto your toes, and walk your feet in tiny baby steps towards your hands, so to the front of the mat. And bring your feet hip distance apart now and fold over the legs. You can keep a deep, deep bend in the knees. Grab opposite elbows and gently rock from side to side. And here there's really no need to straighten out the legs. It's really, really good for the lower spine to keep that bend in the knees, because otherwise we would be putting a lot of pressure onto the spine. So bend your knees deeply, and from here start to roll up vertebrae by vertebrae, lifting the body up and rolling your shoulders up and back when you arrive at the top. Now let's set up for mountain pose, Tadasana, by bringing the balls of the feet to touch, keeping a slight distance between the heels. And the core is really engaged here, so draw the belly button to the spine. We don't want to stick out the ribs and the bum. We want to keep everything hugging into the midline, so core is engaged. Shoulders are down, arms by your sides with the palms facing forward. Inhale, reach your arms up high, bring the palms to touch. And exhale, fold forward. You can bend your knees deeply, bring the head down. This is Uttanasana, forward fold. Inhale, find halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana, bringing the hands either onto the shins or the thighs, finding length in the legs and the spine. So now we want to keep the legs straight, and also the spine is nice and long, so no rounding in the spine. Finding length, taking one more inhale in. And with the exhale, rebend your knees to fold forward, and then planting the palms into the mat and stepping the left foot back and then the right, coming high onto the tiptoes. Now we're in a high plank with the shoulders on top of the wrists, finding a protraction of the shoulder blades. So we don't want to collapse into the shoulders like this. We want to keep pressing out of the shoulder blades. Let's look at that in a bit more detail. So lower your knees down into the mat and bring the hands underneath the shoulders, and then try to collapse into your shoulders. So relax the shoulders and draw the shoulder blades together like that, and then pressing out of the shoulders again, so finding that protraction. Inhale to relax and retract, and exhale to protract. So just try to do this a couple of times to feel the difference between retraction and protraction of the shoulder blades. And when we're in this protracted position, we are much more stable. And that's what we want in our high plank. So now you can step your feet back, returning into our high plank and trying again to squeeze the shoulders, finding that retraction, and exhale, push the mat away and round out of the shoulder blades. Inhale to retract, exhale to protract. One last time, finding that retraction. And now hold your protracted position of the shoulders. That is what we want in our yoga high plank. One more breath in. And exhale, lift your hips up and return into downward facing dog, finding a length in the spine. And remember that you can always keep a bend in the knees to find that length. Now bring the left foot a little bit more to the center, so a little bit closer to the right, and lift the right leg up for our three-legged dog. Trying to keep the hip squared, so we don't want to open the hip, we want to keep the right hip in one level with the left. And now bring the gaze between the hands and step the right foot forward. You can use your hands to bring the foot further forward. Lower the left knee down and untuck the left toes. And then making sure that the right knee is directly on top of the right ankle to protect the knee here. Inhale, reach your arms up high, finding our Untitled, and try to keep drawing the right hip back. So we don't want to collapse into the stretch like that. We want to keep the hip squared, so right hip back, left hip forward, kind of like a scissoring motion, so the legs are really, really active, inner thighs squeezing together. And one thing that I forgot to mention is that we need to take best care of our knees. So if you feel like the left knee is hurting or just a bit uncomfortable, you can double up your mat, or you can use a blanket or a towel or something to put underneath the knee. And I cannot stress this enough. This is really so important. If there's just the tiniest discomfort in the knee, please put something underneath it. And now staying here for one more inhale. Exhale to bring the fingertips down into the mat, and then shift your hips back. So we want to straighten the right leg and bring the left hip on top of the left knee. So maybe you need to move the right foot a bit further forward, and then coming onto the fingertips or holding onto furniture or bringing the hands onto the hips to find length in the spine. We don't want any rounding in the spine in this pose, so we don't ever want to do this. This puts a lot of pressure onto the lower spine. We always want to think of length in the spine. And I know it's so tempting to round because then we just can go a bit deeper into the pose, but it is much safer and much more beneficial to keep the length in the spine and just stay a little bit more lifted. Let's stay one more breath here in our half split, half Hanumanasana. And with the next exhale, rebending into the right knee, plant the palms down, tuck the left toes, lifting the left knee off the mat, and then stepping the left foot to the front, meeting the right. Inhale, halfway lift, finding length in the spine. And exhale to fold. You can bend your knees, bring the head down. Inhale, rising all the way up, palms to touch, high mountain. And exhale, hands to heart, and then releasing your arms by the sides. Inhale, reach your arms up, palms to touch. Exhale, folding forward, bending the knees, head down. Inhale for halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana, long spine, long neck. And exhale, plant your palms and step the right foot back and then the left. We're back in our high plank, protracting the shoulders. So keep rounding out of the shoulder blades. Full breath in. And exhale, lower the knees into the mat. Bend your elbows and bring the chest and the chin down as well. So the only thing lifted now are the hips. If this is very uncomfortable, you can bring the chest a bit further forward. Or if it's easy, you can bring the chest closer to the knees. Hands are underneath the shoulders. Inhale. And then exhale, sliding forward onto the belly and setting up for our low cobra. So tops of the feet are pressing into the mat. Hands are underneath the shoulders, but we don't want to put any pressure into the hands. So maybe you can even float the palms, lifting the chest up, chin up, staying here, full breath in. And exhale, press into the palms to shift back through tabletop into our downward facing dog. So lifting the hips up, bringing the feet hip distance apart, pressing into the palms. And then bring the right foot a little bit more to the center and lift the left leg up. Again, making sure that the hips are square. And from here, stepping the left foot between the hands. You can always use your hand to bring the leg forward. Lowering the right knee down into the mat. Untuck the right toes. And then going through our checklist here, making sure the left knee is directly on top of the left ankle. The right knee is comfortable. If not, doubling up the mat. And from here, reaching the arms up. Untitled. Hips are square, so we're not collapsing into the hip. Keep drawing the left hip back, right hip forward. Soften your shoulders, soften the face. Arms are straight and long, lifting up. Let's stay for one more breath here. Full inhale. And exhale, bringing the fingertips down into the mat and shifting the hips back. Making sure the right hip is on top of the right knee, so maybe you have to wiggle the left foot a little bit further forward. Keeping the left leg straight and the spine long, so if it helps, you can bring the hands onto furniture or onto the hips. Finding the length in the spine, so whatever happens, we don't want to round. We want to keep a long spine and flexing into the left foot to also stretch into the calf muscle. We're in our half split here, half Hanumanasana. Staying for one more deep inhale. Exhale to rebend the left knee, plant your palms, lift the right knee off the mat and step the right foot to the front. Inhale, halfway lift. You can slide your hands all the way up to the thighs. Exhale to fold, rebending the knees. Inhale, rising all the way up, high mountain, palms to touch. And exhale, hands to heart, and then releasing the hands to the sides. And again, inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, folding forward, hinging from the hips, head down. Inhaling, halfway lift, lengthen the spine, lengthen the legs. And exhale, planting the palms, stepping the left foot back and then the right. High plank, you know what to do here, rounding out of the shoulder blades, keeping the hips in one line with the shoulders. And then shifting forwards onto the toes so that the shoulders are on top of the fingertips, lowering the knees down into the mat. Untuck the toes and then bend into the elbows into a 90-degree angle, so like a push-up. And from here, lifting the chest up to come into our high cobra. So palms are underneath the shoulders. Try not to collapse into the shoulders here, but lifting out of the shoulders, broadening through the collarbones, lifting the chest. And if we're pressing into the tops of the feet here and lift the thighs off the mat, we're in our upward facing dog. So if the legs are down, this is our high cobra. And if the thighs are lifting up, it's upward facing dog. Staying here for one more inhale. Exhale, rolling over the tops of the feet, lifting the hips up to return into downward facing dog, bringing the feet back into the mat, and then shifting the left foot a little bit closer to the right, and lifting the right leg up, three-legged dog, and then stepping the right foot between the hands, placing the left foot into a 45-degree angle into the mat. And the left foot doesn't have to be in one line with the right. It can be a bit more to the side so that we're kind of like on two railroad tracks with the feet. The hips are squared, so try to bring the left hip forward, right hip back, deep bend in the right knee. And from here, reaching the arms up, we're in our warrior one, Virabhadrasana A. The back foot is flat in the mat, so keep drawing the heel down. And then turn the left foot into a 90-degree angle and maybe increasing the stance a little bit to find warrior two. So now you can bring the heel of the left foot in line with the heel of the right, so that we're kind of like standing on one long line with the feet, still keeping a deep bend in the right knee. And the knee always tends to fall in here. We want to keep drawing it out. So keep drawing the right knee to the right. The hips are open to the long side of the mat now, and the arms are extended wide, bringing the gaze over the right fingertips, finding length through the arms. And with the next inhale, flip the right palm and lean over to the left, sliding the left hand down the left leg, reaching the right arm alongside the right ear. We're in a reverse warrior now. The right knee is still bent deeply. Let's stay for one more breath in. And exhale, returning into our warrior two, extending the arms wide. And then bring the right forearm onto the right thigh and reach the left arm alongside the left ear for extended side angle. Not collapsing onto the forearm, but trying to engage the core so that we can potentially lift the right arm easily off the leg. Inhale, let's lift back up to warrior two. And exhale, sliding the hand down the leg, reverse warrior. Inhale through center. And exhale, extended side angle. Nothing changes in the legs. We're just moving the upper body through warrior two and then reaching over to the left, reversed warrior, and exhale, extended side angle. You can find your rhythm here keeping that deep bend in the right knee. One last time. And then let's meet in Warrior 2. From here, windmill the palms down, framing the right foot, coming onto the left toes, and stepping the right foot back, high plank. And from here, lowering the knees down into the mat, bending the elbows into a 90-degree angle, and then lifting the chest up, coming into our high cobra or upward facing dog by pressing into the tops of the feet. And then rolling over the toes, lifting the hips up, downward facing dog. Bring the right foot a little bit closer to the left and lift the left leg up, three-legged dog. And then step the left foot between the hands and bring the right foot 45 degrees into the mat. So the right foot is flat. You can bring it a bit more to the right side of the mat so that we can square off the hips. We want to draw the right hip forward, left hip back, deep bend in the left knee, and then reaching the arms up. Warrior 1, Virabhadrasana A. And from here we're going to transition into our Warrior 2 by first turning the right toes into a 90-degree angle, and you can step the right foot a bit further back, bringing the right heel in one line with the left. Deep bend in the left knee, and what sometimes happens here is that we stick out the butt, and we don't want to do that. So keep drawing the belly button to the spine, no back bend in the spine here. Hips are open to the long side of the mat, and then extending the arms wide, gaze over the front fingertips. Inhale, flip the front palm, and exhale, reverse your warrior, leaning over to the right. You can slide the right hand down the right leg. Left arm is alongside the left ear, still keeping that bend in the left knee. Inhale, back to Warrior 2. And exhale, extended side angle. Left forearm comes onto the left thigh, right arm alongside the right ear. No weight in that forearm, so it's just as a very, very light support on that leg, but we don't want to collapse onto it. We want to keep the core active and engaged. So no chilling here. Inhale, back to our Warrior 2. And exhale to reverse, leaning over to the right. Inhale, back through center, and exhale, extended side angle. Inhale, lifting up. Exhale to reverse. You can find your own rhythm again, keeping everything the same in the legs. It's only the upper body moving here from our extended side angle to the reversed warrior. So the legs stay strong and engaged. Our last round, and then let's meet back in our Warrior 2, and from here bringing the palms down into the mat, framing the left foot, and then stepping the foot back into high plank. And now you can either again lower your knees down into the mat like we used to, or you can keep the knees lifted off the mat, bending into the elbows 90 degrees for our Chaturanga. Inhaling, upward facing dog or cobra. And exhaling, rolling over the feet into downward facing dog, lifting the hips up high. And this transition that we just did from the high plank through the upward facing dog into the downward facing dog is called a vinyasa. And now from here, lower your knees down, bringing them as wide as the mat. Big toes to touch, sending the hips onto the heels, and then bringing the forehead down, extending the arms long in front. This is our extended child's pose, and this is one of the most relaxing and soothing poses for the body. Whenever you feel like something is too much, you can just come here. Slowing down the breath now. And then pressing into the palms to lift up, shifting the hips to one side and bringing the legs in front, making sure you have enough space to lie down behind, and then removing any fleshy bits from underneath the sit bones so that we can sit up nice and tall. But if you feel like you're already now rounding a lot in the spine, you can maybe place a pillow or something underneath the sit bones. And then bend your knees so that you can get hold of the big toes and bring the stomach to touch the thighs. Doesn't matter how much you need to bend the knees, I want you to find that connection of the upper body onto the legs. And now from here, if you have the flexibility already, you can start to shift the legs further away. If not, just stay wherever you are and then folding over the legs, bringing the forehead to the shins and stretching into the hamstrings here in our Paschimottanasana, forward fold. And this stomach to thigh connection is really, really important because it helps us to maintain the length in the spine. Because again, I'm saying it all the time, but we do not want to round the spine in this pose so that we're not putting any unnecessary pressure onto the lower spine. And now slowly letting go of the feet and lifting back up, reaching the arms long in front, rounding the spine and starting to lower down into the mat, vertebrae by vertebrae, so moving nice and slow and pausing for a breath. Inhale and exhale all the way down. And I'm bending into the knees to plant the feet into the mat, bringing the right ankle on top of the left thigh, flexing the right foot, and then threading the hands through the legs to interlace the fingers around the left thigh, or you can also bring them around the left shin. So this is really a preference thing, what feels better for you. And then hugging the legs towards the chest here, finding the stretch in the outer right hip. You can press the right elbow into the right thigh to increase the stretch in the outer hip. Keep breathing fully and deeply here. And then slowly releasing the leg and crossing the right thigh fully around the left, maybe even interlacing the feet. Bring your arms into a capital T shape and drop the knees over to the left. Gaze goes over the right fingertips. We are in our supine twist and we want to press the right shoulder blade down into the mat. So try to keep that right shoulder grounded. It doesn't matter if the knees are maybe lifting off the mat. And just staying here, breathing fully. And then slowly lifting the knees back to center, uncrossing the legs, and we're gonna switch sides, placing the left ankle on top of the right thigh, flexing into the left foot, and then interlacing the hands behind the right thigh or around the shin, whatever feels better. And then draw the legs towards the chest. Maybe you want to press that left elbow into the left thigh, increasing the stretch in the left outer hip and keeping the left foot flexed to protect the knee. And from here we're going to move into our twist. So releasing the leg and crossing the left leg fully around the right. Extending the arms into a capital T shape, dropping the knees over to the right and bringing the gaze over the left shoulder, the left fingertips. And then grounding that left shoulder blade fully into the mat. Twisting into the spine. Releasing any tension and encouraging the blood flow to the digestive organs. So twisting has a detoxifying effect on the body and it improves the digestion. And then slowly lifting the knees back up, coming out of the twist, uncrossing the legs. And then moving into our happy baby. So you can grab either the feet or the ankles or the shins, whatever is accessible right now, drawing the heels towards the ceiling and the knees towards the armpits, and trying to fully ground down through the spine here. So oftentimes we're lifting up with the lower spine, but we want to keep it fully grounded, and then we can rock from side to side, finding that gentle sway and opening the hips. And then letting go of the feet or the ankles or the shins, and bringing the soles of the feet together on the mat in Supta Baddha Konasana. So soles of the feet to touch, knees fall wide open, and then placing one hand onto the belly and one hand onto the heart. And closing down the eyes. And if the stretch on the inner thighs gets too much, you can always move the feet further down the mat to ease the stretch. Bring your full awareness to the breath now, and just start to notice how the breath is flowing through the body, how the chest and the belly are rising and falling with every breath. And this is our Shavasana, so the end of the practice where we allow the body to seize in all the benefits from the practice. And the traditional Shavasana would be to extend the legs wide and the arms wide. We are right now still in this Supta Baddha Konasana, but you can always extend the legs if that feels better for you, or just stay wherever you are right now, allowing the body to fully melt down into the mat. If you want to stay longer, you can just pause the video and stay here. Otherwise, we are starting to come out, extending the arms above the head, bringing the knees into the chest, and then rolling onto the right side, using the right arm as a pillow for the head, thanking the body for the practice and for being so healthy, and then slowly lifting back up, coming into a seated position of your choice, bringing the hands in front of the heart, and from here lifting the hands up to the third eye point between the eyebrows on the forehead for clear and kind thoughts, and then lower your hands in front of the lips to speak kind words, and back to heart center to feel and give love and kindness. Thank you so much for practicing with me. Let me know if you have any questions. You can leave them in the comments or send me a message on Instagram. And if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to my channel. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. That would mean a lot to me. And yeah, I hope I'll see you around here. Bye.